So before I begin, I want to truly thank every single one of y'all for being here and supporting me for I told myself I wasn't going to do this. I want to truly thank every single one of y'all for being here and supporting me for the next chapter of my life and joining the military. In this speech, I'm going to be open and honest. Though I did try my best to keep the word choice PG, some things may tilt your head a bit and think about the person you're supporting here today. I decided to go this route because I wanted to keep it as authentic and transparent as possible. I am not perfect by any means, and I don't recall ever saying I was. I do not entertain the idea that disrespecting others is okay or cool, and want to emphasize how important it is to respect one another, especially your parents. With that said, I'm going to begin my little speech. Little speech, you might be here for a while, but I got your time anyway. There is one story I want to share in particular that shapes itself as time goes on. This story I have crafted in a way in which it can fit any particular topic. This story is one that I am most proud of and I've talked a lot about in conversation. It is a story as to why I decided to join the United States Navy. 2017, it was time to start applying for college. I was in a bit of a panic because a lot of other students already got accepted their junior year. I was like, wait, I was supposed to worry about this when I was a freshman? I felt so behind. I didn't know what to do. To make matters worse, I never went to my counselor or asked for any help, even being in a college prep class that I never took serious either. I figured I applied to Texas State because that's what my sister did, but they denied me. UT, U of H, denied. But I know I wasn't done. No, you're not. But it surely made me feel that way. Parents started to worry, and same here. The only thing I knew was that I had to go. How to talk with my parents, and they were telling me, see, if you just applied yourself in school. And my response was, yeah, whatever. Again, probably the worst response ever. I did care. The way I showed it was, to say the least, very much lacking. But the pressure to get into college was real. I thought, what would my parents think of me if I didn't go? One day in class, Ethan said, I am going to SFA for film. Ethan. That's this guy right here. He told me that they had a well-known film program, and I'm finding all this out last minute, literally the same week of registration. So without doing any further research on the school, I applied because there was two people I knew that was going. Ethan, and at the time, my girlfriend. Sent in my application the day registration closed. I figure I applied to the same program as Ethan as well to play it safe. Figure I too can make film into a career. I enjoyed it nonetheless. Got my letter back within a week or so, opened it up, and it was the first line. We are excited to have you at our school. You have been, and just threw the paper up. Didn't care about anything else about what that letter said. And I told my parents, played it off like I had confidence that I was going where I was going to get accepted, and they worked for nothing. Yeah, I'm going to SFA, good school, Ethan's going to. Kind of like that, just whatever, I knew nothing about the school. Even after applying, I still did not bother to do any research about it, let alone the address of the school. I didn't care. All I cared was that I was going to college. In my mind, I said, screw it, just go with it, going anyway. Fast forward, now it's time for our high school graduation. How exciting. Got accepted to college. I'm not going to be a deadbeat son at home. I'm going somewhere. I'm going to have a career. Nope. Matter of fact, I was kind of miserable. Not depressed miserable, more like really poor, ungrateful attitude miserable. I remember feeling as if there was something missing. I had a hard time really trying to view this as something worthwhile, but I just could not make sense of it. And sorry, Mom and Dad, for my poor attitude at the time. At the time, I also didn't know how to explain it, but my gut said there was something wrong. Something felt incomplete, and I was not proud of it. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I knew there was something wrong. Cap and gown? Check. Underwear? No, I forgot my underwear. All right, gotta go back. All right, put my underwear around. Then, of course, my clothes, because I forgot that too. And I said to my parents as they were about to drop me off at Smart Financial Center, this is all pointless. No smile, just smirking and being a smartass. It wasn't like I didn't care about my academics, yet I still could not shake off that feeling of something not feeling right. My heart, my gut, was speaking a language I could not understand. My mind was full of fog, and I was unable to navigate through it. I walked the stage, and the rest of the story is just history. Now it's time for college. Yeah, this is exactly where I wanted to be, I thought. After 3 semesters of film school, that feeling came back. Something was not right. It was not that I didn't enjoy film or telling stories. If you ever really met me, I blabber a lot. I love telling stories. I ended up changing my major to IT. I changed it for 2 main reasons. One, I thought to myself, why in the world am I getting an art degree? Who the heck convinced me? That was probably Ethan. No, I'm just kidding. Not blaming you at all. Not blaming you at all. Besides that, I've always been pretty tech literate growing up. Build computers, fix them too. I truly do enjoy messing around with technology, what led me to my second reason, job stability. Which then leads me back to my first reason, why the heck would I get an art degree? Then came college, graduation. That feeling's still there. I told my parents, I do not want to walk. And again, same thing. They were pissed. I just wanted to get my degree and get out. After 4 years in college thinking about why I felt like this, I came to the conclusion that it simply did not feel like an accomplishment. But that was not all of it. I was, however, starting to understand more as to why I felt that there was something missing. I get into my career in IT. When I started working, I realized that my bachelor degree did not prepare me for the workforce. They taught me all the wrong things, and I felt 4 years behind instead of 4 years ahead. I started feeling lost, and I wanted to give up because of how much time I felt was wasted. I was lucky enough to be hired by a company that was willing to teach me from the very beginning. So I started working hard to learn what I needed, taking every note I possibly can. This, though, thought of wasting time consumed me. It consumed me so much I started thinking of going back to school and was researching school with great IT programs. This was when I discovered trade school. And instead of being glad to find an effective and cheaper way to get ahead in my education, I built up resentment towards my parents. I was blaming them for their influence of saying college was the answer. I spent so much money that I could have used elsewhere. I felt lied. I felt I was owed. So I researched more and found that my industry really cares about certifications more than degrees. So that is what I did. I paid for a course and started working towards a specialty in cybersecurity. I was reaching 1 year with the company. At this point, that missing feeling still existed, but it did not bother me as much. I was not progressing much with my courses. It was on my own pace, so I figured that I would eventually finish it, procrastinating a lot. Then, my boss gave us mandatory reading assignment. My boss wanted us to read a book called Extreme Ownership by Lee Fadden and Jocko Willink. It is a book about accountability beyond its peak meaning. After reading it, I felt a jolt of motivation to study. That motivation, unfortunately, was short-lived, as I quickly forgot the principles because I did not practice it. However, after reading the book, I was subconsciously developing an attitude that would help me solve my missing feeling problem that I had for so many years. During my time with the company, and without having any real reason, it felt right to apply for the Air Force as enlisted. I thought that maybe the Air Force could teach me the things I need and jumpstart my cybersecurity career. Told my parents, and immediately they did not approve of my decision. Long story short, even going through the entire process, I was denied. My parents relieved. I shrugged it off. It was no big deal. I acted like it too. But it wasn't the denial of the Air Force that consumed me. It was the disapproval from my parents. The disapproval and that missing feeling as if it was connected in some way. I still could not put my finger on it. These feelings started to overwhelm me so much that it slowly started to affect my performance at work. I was no longer enjoying myself, just like how I fell off with film. As a last-ditch effort for myself, I scheduled my exams to force myself to continue to study. However, it didn't help. I couldn't bring myself out of bed sometimes, still making it to work, but was dragging my feet. Nearing the date of my exam, I was unfortunately let go from my job. I ended up failing my exam shortly after too. Failing did wake me up a bit, studied a lot more, and got my cert 2 months later. I have a degree, a certification, now what, I thought. I don't have a job, and I was struggling to find work. I was confused, unsure. Why was it that film did not bring that same excitement I felt when starting it as a kid and doing it in high school? IT was not feeling right either. Everything I enjoyed and was good at continued to not feel right. And then I went to my Taekwondo master, Master Jay, in desperation if I could work for him after being let go. And I did. I started working there for a year. Had a lot of time to just think as I worked roughly 20 to 25 hours a week. And I read the book, Extreme Ownership, one more time and realized that I had to practice this every day of my life if I'm ever going to have respect for anyone, if I'm ever going to get respect from anyone, and also keep a job more than 2 years. Took a deep breath, meditated, and everything just clicked. I figured out what was missing. In September of 2024, I opened my laptop and applied to the Navy for OCS instead, and told no one for a while. What I was doing, I was tackling 2 birds with 1 stone. In order to apply for OCS, you needed a degree. And I thought, time to make this stupid thing useful. Of course, I eventually had to tell my family, and to no surprise, faced the same disapproval. You can go ahead and ask them yourself. It's true. But there was something different about it this time. The biggest difference was that feeling of something missing was gone. I figured it out. Regardless if I get selected, it would not have changed anything either way, too. However, I needed to get selected because I desperately wanted to make a statement as well. A statement to myself that would carry me forward for the rest of my life. March of 2025 came around and I get a phone call. I was selected to be a surface warfare officer for the United States Navy. I was thrilled. And of course, I had to tell my family. I thought long and hard on how I was going to tell them, playing every scenario in my head. I come home to tell my parents, and we argued. More so my mom than my dad. My dad shrugged and looked at me as he sat in his office working. He was like, okay. No, my mom was furious. Absolutely livid. I couldn't remember what she said. All I remember is the look of disapproval and disappointment. I held my tongue and hesitation for a few seconds that felt like minutes. Took a quick and deep, frustrated breath in, then quickly out. And as I was doing that, my mom was giving me a lecture of something I have no idea about. I couldn't remember. My heart pounding against my ribs. I spoke as calmly, stern, and respectful as I was able to contain myself to do. Then I spoke. I am not asking for your permission. What made this moment so pivotal is because it was about what I strongly believed in and what I was standing up for. I could see it in my father's eyes. He was like, oh shit. But not in a retaliation way. No, but it was a moment of respect between son and father. Because he understood the message, rather than just hearing the words. If you have not caught it already, the missing piece was finally put in place after that. And the missing piece was me the entire time. I was not happy with high school because it wasn't about me. It was because I didn't know what I wanted to do and I was following what was comfortable. It was my parents that wanted me to graduate and go to college as they shoved the idea down my throat without giving any other suggestions that I later found out about. But ultimately, I failed to take responsibility of my future. I did not research. I lacked ambition. When I graduated college, it was not because I wanted to go to college. It was because my parents wanted me to, and it did seem happier when I changed to IT instead. When I was working IT for my company, they were happy for me to have a corporate job, but I contemplated multiple times about quitting. Everything in my life was because it was what they wanted for me, and I was not doing it for my own sake. Nonetheless, it was me who decided that I wanted to satisfy others rather than myself. When I realized I was not pulling my own strings, I needed to take control for the first time in my life and take extreme ownership of my decisions from here on forward. Signing for the Navy is the first time in my life in which I made a decision for myself that will ultimately alter my future. As much as I love helping others, doing film and IT, I had to do something different for myself for once in my life. That is why I decided to join the United States Navy as a surface warfare officer, because it was something that I wanted to do and something that I needed to do to progress myself forward. Thank you.
Today is a very, very, very special day. Today's the day that I finally swear into service. November 26, 2025 is also the same day in which my nephew was born. One of the things that kind of sucks about this is that I only have one sister, one nephew, and I won't be there for the most part of its life, even though he's not going to know that I was there. And it's just, I don't necessarily know how to feel considering everything that's going on. You know, all the goodbyes to my friends and family, my sister having a baby, and dealing with separating from work. Like, there's just a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things going on. It's kind of hard for me to kind of process everything and understand what's kind of going on. Though I know what's going on, it's just a lot of different emotions at once. Kind of just makes you like, which emotion do I deal with first? Time moves on though. It doesn't wait for anybody. But one thing I know for a fact, even though that I'm saying goodbye for now to a lot of family and friends and my nephew, regardless of all that, it still feels right of what I'm doing. I'm ready.
Okay, apparently we're not done yet. We're not done yet.
Jonathan Striker. Both me and his mom are very hesitant about what he's doing. But we will support him no matter what. We wish him always the best. As a parent, we want to always try to protect our children. If you're not a parent yet, and when you do become one, you'll be one of those parents. No matter how old they get, you always want to be the protector of your family. We are very proud of him and about him and his studies. He fails to say he never studied. He was in this room playing video games until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But he always passed. While his sister studied till 3 o'clock in the morning and she passed too, but she was studying. He wasn't. How he did it, I don't know. He did. He's always impressed the heck out of me on what he's done, whether it's in sports or just doing whatever, you know. But as a father to a son, he made me a better person. Such a better person.